This is Ashish Kalyar. Welcome again. This is an exclusive learning follow-up session, I would say, and it will be more interactive. You will be asking me questions. We'll be discussing about markets. I'll talk about the way I'm seeing it, and I can talk anything and everything in this forum because you understand the best way uh, on how it works. So that is what I'm going to do that. And if you have any questions, you can put it in Q&A. I'll try to answer all of your questions. If I miss it out, you can put it in chat also. I'm keeping the chat to only to the host so that others are not getting distracted because of the questions being asked. And it is going to be an interactive session, as I say. So I don't have any specific agenda. I don't want you to teach anything. I just want to share across what I see on the markets, on the charts, how I'm able to possibly time it. If you are following me on Twitter, I've been talking about how the markets are moving. And it's very interesting and exciting to share that across with each one of you. So, very, very warm welcome again. And this is the whatever we are doing is in uh, great anticipation that a follow-up series that we conduct post the mentorship is going to help you to refine your learning, to come out with doubts as a trader, how you are performing uh, as an investor, whether you are able to create portfolios or not. So all of those things is going to be addressed here. So that is why we are conducting these revision sessions, and it's going to continue once in fortnight is what the entire intention is, or once in week, depends on the frequency. But we will definitely keep continuing it for the benefit of everyone. So let's very quickly move on to the charts now. I'm going to start from the very basic way of looking at charts, which we did in the mentorship program on how to kickstart. So I'm not going to tell you where is Nifty headed, whether you should go a short tomorrow or buy it now. I'm not going to do that. We will very, very quickly start from the very basic and the correct way of looking at the market. So let me just open up my screen and let me just go on the chart. I'm going to use investing.com right now because TradingView has limitations. So I'm going to use investing.com. For intraday cycle analysis, we will apply it on TradingView. If you are applying intraday cycles, do not apply it on investing.com. You can apply it on Go Charting because investing.com does not take into account the closing hour properly. So your number of candles will be wrong if you do an hourly chart on investing or a 15-minute chart on investing. I prefer using either ME Broker or TradingView or Go Charting for doing those things. So ensure you do not post your time cycle analysis. You do not do it on investing.com. So right now I'm just opening investing because TradingView has limitation and I'm using paid version that is by Sachin. I'm not sure if I'm still logged in that. I've not opened it yet. So if not, then we might try and do something about it. So let's just check. I'm not sure if Sachin is joined in. Okay. So over here, are you able to see my screen? Every one of you? Are you able to see the screen? Is what perfect, fantastic. So if you are able to see the screen, we are going to start very, very quickly on going to Nifty first. Also ensure when you look at the chart, it is in a square format. It's not in a stretched format. So you need to see the chart in a square format, which is square is this way. जैसे आपको दिख रहा है in a square format में chart आपको दिखना चाहिए. That is important. Now let's start step by step process. This is valid for every single stock you look at it, every single index, every single commodity, everything. This is how the steps should work. Okay, this is how the steps should follow. So I go on the weekly chart. Now if I look at the weekly chart, since this low formed, which was on 19th of April, not a single, it has been 26 weeks, like I told across in yesterday's webinar, not a single week we have seen a close below the prior week low. So market still remains buy on dips if you are a positional trader. So अगर आप swing trading कर रहे हैं, so for example you are trading for say 10 days time frame, or say for a week, at least for a week, then you still looking for buying this market. Remember that you need to define your trading time frame. Are you a trader from short term, which is like 2 days, 3 days time frame? Then daily chart will help. For looking at the candle I am talking about, okay? Ultimately we have to pull the trigger looking at a 15 minutes or an hourly chart. But to make up the overall context of the market, like I say, what is the overall theme, what is the overall tone of the market, is what we understand from this specific chart. Once you open a weekly chart, you understand that the markets have been on a tear nearly 26 weeks, which is record number of consecutive candles not closing below the prior candle low. I'll again explain for simplicity what does that mean. So if this is the candle that you see, and this candle closes below the prior candle low, अगर ये candle के नीचे close किया है, this is the low of prior candle and this is the close. If this close is below the low of prior candle, we say that the overall bias has changed to a lower high and lower low formation, and you will look for pullbacks to short the market. If you're looking at a weekly chart, in this time frame, we can clearly see that has not happened even now. Okay, I am not saying if this happens, does it mean markets will crash? No, there is no forecasting ability here. It just says that you have to get cautious. Market can fall or go sideways until we see a close back above the prior candle high. So far, so good. So that is the most simplest way in which you start looking at the overall market. Now, once you have done that, you know that this has been 26 candles. The reason I'm emphasizing this is it's much more than what you saw here. It's much more than what you saw here. It's much more than what you saw earlier, which means that this is definitely stretched for sure. Stretched matlab it's like a rubber band. It's too stretched. You don't know when it will break, but do not try to catch a top here. I'm just saying it is stretched. If you want to invest right now in the market as a fresh investor, it's not the time because it is stretched. Only once we see some kind of a pullback happening, then maybe you can think of investment. So remember, everyone, I am talking different trading time frames. Trading time frame का क्या मतलब होता है? पहला trading time frame हो गया investment perspective से, which is like maybe a year or 2 years. ठीक है? That's one. Next trading time frame हो गया from short medium term I am talking about. So when I'm talking about medium term time frame, then you have to look at it from the perspective of say 3 months, 6 months. What do you expect markets to do? So that is how it has to be done. Are you with me? Are you getting the entire point? When I'm talking about short term time frame, uh, I, positional swing trading time frame, I'm talking more from 10 days perspective or 7 days perspective. When I'm talking short term, it can be intraday or 2 days perspective. Okay, is it clear? So you really have to be ensuring that. Okay, uh, just 1 second. So you need to ensure that this is, you don't get confused if at one time frame I'm talking bullish, that this is buy on dips market. On the other time frame, on a daily time frame, I might talk bearish, and on an hourly time frame, I might talk bearish. So don't get confused. When I'm looking at a weekly chart, I'm talking from a little bigger perspective is what I'm talking right now. Okay. So now let's go on a daily time frame and check what's happening over the short term. Same concept. I'm just deriving the context of the market like we do, like we started our mentorship program when we talked about what is the overall context of the market. That's the most basic thing that we want to understand is the market कर क्या रहा है यार, हमारा mood क्या होना चाहिए? Is it buy? Is it sell? Okay. Now, if I go on the daily time frame, very interesting. This time it was very interesting. We saw series of gaps. Gap was here, gap, 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 and this is filled today. So this gap that we see here is possibly an exhaustion gap. Okay, exhaustion matlab last gap before the market reverses is what we call as an exhaustion gap. Also, you see a close which has happened below the prior candle low. Okay, which means daily bias has turned bearish. So in your Excel sheet, mentees, you need to maintain that Excel sheet. I think you have stopped using that. Please don't do that. You need to be disciplined enough. You mention against the weekly bias is positive so far. Daily bias is negative so far because we have closed below the prior candle low. That is absolutely clear. Now, after you do that, the next thing that you have to do is to plot simple trend line and channel. Simple trend line and channel. Don't complicate things. Let's keep it very easy. Okay? Step by step. You will do it for every single stock or index or anything that you look forward to. Simple trend line I'm going to draw, and I'm going to connect this low together with this low. Nothing else. इसका parallel मैं ले लूंगा. I'll just clone it across, and I'm taking a parallel to this. Okay. After I take a parallel to this line, I draw a zone. Zone मतलब क्या है? एक line लिया. I draw another line from here. I get a zone of resistance. Similarly, I'm getting a zone of support here. Okay, so that's the zone. We are right now in the middle of the zone, which means there is space for markets to go on the downside. In fact, even if you would have read my article which I published today, I mentioned very clearly, looking at Ichimoku Cloud and open interest analysis, how 18,050 to 18,000 can be the level. You can use the parallel channel also, that is fine. The reason I use this way is because it shows the shaded area, and I'm not too fan of anything that hides my prices or make my price look subdued. So इसलिए I always prefer using a clean chart that does not hide my price. If I draw a channel from here, you can do that. But if you draw directly a channel, parallel channel, the problem is if you do that, it highlights the price, it hides the price. See, I don't want to do that. I don't see it clearly. It's a personal choice. You can do that. That's not a problem. Now, after you have done this thing, what you have to understand is clearly after this is done, you know we are right now here. Now, what is the mood? What is the overall context? The trend from this low had been very sharp, fast with gaps, which means the market is in euphoric mode. When the market is in euphoria, you might see it going down and equally bouncing back fast. Okay. So if you are short on the market, you might want to book partial profits at least so that you don't get caught off guard. Okay. So you might want to book partial profits over here. And you want to also understand very clearly you want to understand that once the market is on the short side, does not mean that you turn bearish on everything, क्योंकि अभी भी stocks में strength है. If you look at bank nifty, there is not much of a serious fall comparatively. I'm saying comparatively. We need to see from here on कल क्या होता है. Every time now it's a step